what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media Channel. It is a new year, guys. It's 2026. So as I usually do every year, I feel like I make these kind of videos every year. I wanted to talk about 10 movies that we need to come to 4K in 2026 in order to make this a successful year for physical media. I absolutely believe, well, maybe a couple of these not so much. But I do believe that most of the titles that I'm going to talk about today are absolutely necessary to make 2026 just one of the greatest years of all time for physical media. A lot of these are very long awaited to come to 4K. I think a lot of people would be very excited for these to come to 4K. And I think that a lot of these, there's a very good possibility we could be getting these on 4K in 2026. Some of these are long shots. Some of these are definitely long shots, and a lot of these could be, it could be complicated to get them because a lot of this stuff is owned by Disney. I think that's kind of where we're at now, though. It's like all the big stuff, like if you look, if you trace it back, the big hang up is usually Disney. Like it's a Touchstone film, it's a Hollywood Pictures film, it's a Fox film, it's a Disney film. That's almost always the case now. Like when you're like, oh, why isn't this on 4K? Trace it back, oh, Disney owns it. Like that's the case almost like 90% of the time, I feel like now. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that, some 4Ks that we need in 2026. Before I get into it, guys, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know, guys, down below. I know I already said to comment. Let me know, what are some titles that I'm missing? Like, what are some other big ones that you want to see happen in 2026? Let me know that in the comments section below. All right, so most of these, actually, I think all of these that I'm going into are tied to an anniversary because that's the way a lot of these studios, boutique labels that like to do it. They like to promote this stuff as the, 20th anniversary, 50th anniversary, 25th anniversary, things like that. So a lot of these are tied to anniversaries. All right, let's start with the first one. I made an entire video about this because I watched this movie for the first time in 2025. And I'm like, why don't we have this on 4K? It would look gorgeous in 4K. It is a John Carpenter film. I think not his first film, but his first big movie, the movie that kind of put him on the map. Not Halloween, but Assault on Precinct 13. And the interesting thing about this one is this is a Scream Factory release right here. Second Sight also did a Blu-ray. The 4K restoration is done. Deaf Crocodile actually worked on it, I think back in 2022 or 2023, and it was supposed to come out, but they did the restoration, and I don't know like what's going on. I don't know if Scream Factory's sitting on it, if they're waiting for the anniversary, but it's done. I don't know what the hang-up is. It's out there. There's trailers. I think AVCA was involved. The American Film Genre Institute, is that what it's called? I think they were involved in the restoration as well, or at least distributing the restoration. So I don't know exactly who it's going to come from. I would assume it's going to come from Scream Factory, but maybe not because of all the things that are kind of up in the air right now with them and Groove and everything like that. So I don't know where it's coming from, but they have to be waiting for an anniversary. Maybe they're working on finalizing the special features, but this is one that this has to come to 4K. This movie would look gorgeous in 4K. Like just off the trailers alone, like I could see the potential in the 4K because the trailer was showing the 4K upgrade and it looked gorgeous. Not that this Blu-ray is a bad Blu-ray, but it could look a lot better for sure. But yeah, this has some good special features. The Second Sight has some good special features, but hopefully they add some new stuff as well. But Assault on Precinct 13, I freaking love this movie. The music, the score in this film is so fantastic, and I would love to see it come to 4K in 2026. Next one up, guys. The next two actually are two. I would consider these two. I can pull them at the same time. Because I've talked about them so much. Like, I feel like I've been talking about these movies, wanting them to come to 4K for so long. But these, to me, are the last, like, two major horror hang-ups as far as, like, new 4K restorations. Because I feel like we've gotten all the other big ones. I can't think of another big, iconic horror film besides these two that we don't have on 4K. And that is The Fly and The Omen. And this is from 1976 and this is from 1986. So both of these are celebrating anniversaries this year. This is a 40th anniversary. This is a 50th anniversary. But Both of these are 20th Century Fox titles. Both of these were put out by Screen Factory and box sets. I don't think we're going to get these on 4K from Screen Factory, but I'm hoping because they have anniversaries this year and because they both have such rich cinematic legacies, especially in the horror genre, that Disney gets off their ass in 2026 and gives these the 4K treatment. Now, I know they're just going to do basic 4K steelbooks, no new features, but I just want both of these iconic horror movies out on 4K. And if Disney's the one that's going to do it, of course, I would love it if Disney started licensing stuff out. And even if they gave The Fly and The Omen to the Criterion Collection, I think these would both fit in the Criterion Collection. I mean, Criterion works with David Cronenberg all the time. And The Omen is absolutely a prestige horror film from the 70s. So I think both of these would work in the Criterion Collection with new features and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know exactly how Disney would do it, but we need both of these guys. These are the last two horror films, like huge horror films. I'm sure somebody's going to point to some other film that's not on 4K, that's a big genre film. But to me, like, these are the last two. Like, these are the last huge, like, iconic horror films that are not on 4K, and we absolutely need them in 2026. Next up, we got The Conjuring 2. This is from 2016. It's celebrating its 10th anniversary. I think this one's very likely. We just got the first Conjuring, and because this is celebrating a 10th anniversary, I think it's very likely that Warner Brothers does this in 2026. So yeah, this one's kind of a no-brainer, and I think it absolutely will happen in 2026. Next up, another big one, another one that's owned by Disney. I don't know how they're going to do this one, but this absolutely needs to happen. I did a poll back in mid 2025. This was the one that won. Like, this is the title that everybody wants to come to 4K the most, at least of all the 600 people that responded to that post I put up. Big Trouble in Little China. Like, another John Carpenter movie that's not on 4K. Screen Factory did this one back in the day because this is a Fox title. It was back when Fox was not owned by Disney, back in the good old days. So this one got the Screen Factory treatment. It got new special features. I never got it because I'm a dumbass, and for some reason, I just kept holding out on it, and then I realized it was owned by Fox, and before I knew it, it was out of print. But I honestly, like, I'm almost willing to pay the money to get that Screen Factory edition because I just want a nice edition of this film. Not that this Blu-ray's bad, but I'm sure that the Screen Factory version, it's a new scan, it probably looks better. And honestly, I don't know. I think this one's kind of a long shot. I think it's a cult, classic for sure, but I don't think it's one that's on Disney's radar that, like, could be profitable for them. Like, I don't think this is one that they're looking at as one that's like, oh my goodness, we got to do Big Trouble in Little China. That would sell like hotcakes. I don't think that they think of this movie in that way. Actually, I don't think they think of this movie at all. I don't even think they realize that they have it. So hopefully somebody higher up, like Bill Hunt, Digital Bits, I don't know if this is on his list or not, because I know he sent a list to Disney. I can't remember if this is on his list. So hopefully somebody's whispering in their ear, like, Big Trouble in Little China. That would sell so incredibly well on 4K steelbook, whatever you want to do. I actually think this movie would make a really nice 4K steelbook, a nice Disney 4K steelbook. Of course, I want somebody else to do it because they're going to add new special features. Like, this is one I would love Second Sight to get a hold of and do a nice edition of. But Big Trouble in Little China, like, this is a movie that was made for 4K. Like, this was absolutely made for 4K, and it needs to happen in 2026. Next up, this one's kind of a wild card pick, but I do think that this has a good possibility of happening. And I do think it would be a really cool, like, Arrow Video release, or maybe even a Vinegar Syndrome release. I could see Vinegar Syndrome doing this as well. But Fear, with Reese Witherspoon and Mark Wahlberg, which is a film that I've loved since I was a kid. It's celebrating its 30th. God, I feel old. 30th anniversary this year. The last release that this got was a Mill Creek Blu-ray. It was like a retro VHS slipcover Blu-ray, which I do have. I just put the slipcover over there. But this would make a great, like, I don't know, VSU edition, or just a regular Vinegar Syndrome release with, like, tons of new features, kind of like they did with Freeway, which is another Reese Witherspoon movie that came out the same year that this did. And I think it would make a great Vinegar Syndrome release. I also think it would make a great Arrow Video release. Maybe even if Screen Factory wanted to get a hold of it and add a lot of new great special features, they could do that as well. Because this is a Universal, and I do think that, Arrow Video and Vinegar Syndrome, they do work with Universal from time to time. But yeah, this or even Kino Lorber, Kino Lorber could do this as well in 4K. But this, I think this is very likely to happen. I think somebody will pick this up and put it out because of the cult status, whether it's Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow Video, Kino Lorber. I think it will happen. I think it's a pretty good chance that this will happen. Or maybe even Universal does it themselves. They've been doing a lot of their catalog stuff, upgrading it to 4K. So that could be a possibility as well. But yeah, Fear on 4K, I would definitely love to see it. The roller coaster scene in 4K, guys, we need it. Mark Wahlberg yelling in the peephole. Scary stuff. It would be even scarier in 4K. This one, I've already talked about it on the physical media report. Probably a good possibility because Paramount, it is up on Blu-ray.com. Paramount's supposed to put this out, 4K edition, Steelbook edition, but we don't have that official announcement yet. So until we have that official announcement, because it got kind of announced back in 2021, it's not going to be real to me until it actually gets announced. And I see that it's coming out for sure with the actual artwork and everything. And even then, like, it's not going to be real until it's in my hands. But From Dusk Till Dawn, celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, fantastic vampire movie that I have been wanting to come to 4K for probably since I started the channel. I was talking about wanting From Dusk Till Dawn on 4K. They announced it in 2021, like I said. They pulled it from the slate. Nobody knew what was up with it. Now, I was hoping Arrow Video would get a hold of this, put out a nice box set because they just worked with Robert Rodriguez on the Mexico trilogy. So I was thinking that might happen, but then I thought maybe Scream Factory because they worked with him on The Faculty for that one. But I want new interviews and special features and that kind of stuff. Maybe Paramount will throw in a couple of interviews. They do that from time to time. They did it with The Crow. Maybe they'll do it with From Dusk Till Dawn. But I'm just hoping for a nice addition. The 4K slipcover, the 4K Steelbook. I'll grab them both because I love this movie. This is easily like it's at least in my top 50 movies of all time. Maybe not top 20, but it's in my top 50. I love From Dusk Till Dawn. I've been waiting for it for a long time. It would look so good in 4K, guys. The Salma Hayek scene, the titty twister in 4K. Oh my goodness, all that stuff would look so great in 4K. And we need it. We finally need it. We finally need it, okay? We've been needing it, but we need it for sure in 2026. For sure. Another one that we absolutely need. This is a must. Another film that's celebrating its 30th anniversary. And I would say that this may be for a lot of people the greatest action film, at least of the 90s. I think a lot of people would point to this as being the pinnacle of action films in the 90s, and that is The Rock. And this is another one that is owned by Disney. I think it's a Hollywood Pictures. Yeah, it's a Hollywood Pictures. Owned by Disney. I believe there were rumors that this one was coming out, at some point on 4K. I think this one was also on Bill Hunt's list that he sent off to Disney. So I think this is a really good possibility to come out in 2026, 30th anniversary, 4K Steelbook. There won't be any extras or anything like that, but this is another one I think will just look magnificent in 4K. It really would, and it's such a great action movie. I grew up with this film. I watched it all the time as a kid, revisited it a couple of years ago, and it so holds up. It so holds up. Like, it is still one of the greatest action films ever made, and I love it so much, and it will look so good. Alcatraz in 4K, the green beads and stuff, like all that stuff will look so, but it has so many great action set pieces. Michael Bay at the very beginning of his career, really cementing himself as the best action filmmaker of that time, of that era. Say what you want about Michael Bay, he directed the shit out of action in the 90s. Like, he knows how to showcase that and make it look so big and grand and just really dramatic as well. And all that stuff would just translate so well to 4K. So yeah, The Rock, I'm sure Disney's going to be doing this one in 2026, but I did want to highlight that as well. Next one is a little bit of a goofy one, but this one's celebrating its 25th anniversary, And the studios seem to be more open to upgrading comedies to 4K. So I think this one has a really good chance of getting upgraded. It's a Paramount film, that is Zoolander. And maybe this will come from Kino Lorber, maybe this because they're doing a lot of comedies as well. So this could be a Kino Lorber 4K release, but also I think Paramount would do this as well. Maybe do another steelbook of this, like this, with the blue steel look and all that kind of stuff. But this is a film that, yeah, it's a comedy, but it's a very showy, stylish comedy. And I think that the movie would look really good on 4K. I think that the movie does lend itself well to a potential 4K upgrade with HDR, with Dolby Vision, and I would love to see Zoolander get that treatment in 4K for sure in 2026 for the 25th anniversary. And lastly, guys, this is another film that came out in 2001, celebrating its 25th anniversary. I think we got some rumors recently that I may have talked about on the Physical Media Report that this one was coming to 4K. And it was going to be Warner Brothers to put it out in 2026. But just in case, I want to reinforce it here today that we do absolutely need this Steven Spielberg sci-fi 2000s classic in 4K in 2026, and that is AI, artificial intelligence. So we got War of the Worlds a few years ago. We just got Minority Report. This is another one of his sci-fi films from the 2000s that kind of has a similar vibe and style and aesthetic to it. And because those movies look so great on 4K, I believe that this would also look freaking awesome in 4K, and I would love to see AI coming to 4K. I got kind of a complicated relationship with this film. I remember seeing it in the theaters when I was a kid and being bored to tears watching this film. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I watched it years later at home, liked it a lot more, watched it a few years ago, and actually I think this is a great movie. So I would love to see this film upgraded to 4K for sure in 2026. So there you have it, guys. That is the 10 movies that we absolutely need to come to 4K in 2026. I could probably make a volume 2 of this, but I think these are the heavy hitters, or at least most of these. You could probably argue Zoolander's not a heavy hitter, but I think most of the ones I covered today are heavy hitters and ones that people would absolutely lose their minds and go nuts for if they got those official 4K announcements. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.